Hey folks, welcome back. Ever heard of a gangster so bold he tried to off a future presidential candidate? No Hollywood script here, just the real life of Dutch Schultz, the beer baron of the Bronx. Let's dive in. Dutch Schultz was born Arthur Simon Flegenheimer on August 6, 1901 in the Bronx, New York. His parents, Herman and Emma Flegenheimer, were German Jewish immigrants who sought to build a better life in America. Schultz's father was a saloonkeeper, which exposed young Arthur to the workings of the hospitality industry, albeit on the legitimate side of things, at least for the time being. The 1920s were a transformative period in American history, marked by the introduction of Prohibition. The 18th Amendment, along with the Volstead Act, outlawed the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages. However, rather than extinguishing the American appetite for alcohol, these laws had the opposite effect, opening up a lucrative black market. Schultz recognized this as the opportunity he had been waiting for. Partnering with a few like-minded individuals, Schultz began producing bathtub gin and bootleg whiskey. His operation was known for its ruthless efficiency. Anyone who posed a threat, be it rival bootleggers or law enforcement, was swiftly dealt with, often through violent means. Schultz's alcohol racket rapidly expanded, supplying speakeasies across New York City and beyond. By the mid-1920s, he had become one of the major players in the bootlegging industry, grossing millions of dollars each year. As his illicit alcohol business flourished, Schultz realized the importance of diversifying his criminal portfolio. To that end, he formed an organized crime syndicate that delved into various illegal enterprises, including gambling and extortion. He also began to establish strategic alliances with other notorious gangsters of the time, such as Lucky Luciano and Legs Diamond, although these relationships would prove to be a mix of cooperation and rivalry. The organizational structure of Schultz's criminal enterprise was hierarchical, resembling that of a well-oiled corporation. At the top was Schultz, followed by a cadre of trusted lieutenants who managed various aspects of the business. Below them were the enforcers, tasked with carrying out the syndicate's more violent activities, and a network of informants and corrupt officials who helped keep the operation running smoothly. Schultz was highly innovative in protecting his empire. One of his most famous inventions was the Schultz tank, a heavily armored truck used to transport illegal alcohol. It was virtually impervious to police interference, ensuring that Schultz's products reached their destinations unhindered. As Dutch Schultz's bootlegging operations solidified, he began to look for other avenues of illicit income. One of the most lucrative opportunities that caught his eye was the numbers racket in Harlem. This illegal lottery-type game was deeply embedded in the community, and it generated enormous amounts of cash on a daily basis. Initially, the numbers game in Harlem was mostly controlled by African-American operators. Schultz, recognizing the profitability of this business, wanted a slice of the pie. Employing a mix of bribery, threats, and violence, he was able to muscle his way into the racket, ultimately taking control of a significant portion of the game's operations. Schultz applied his business acumen to streamline the operation, squeezing out more profits while ensuring a degree of fairness that kept customers coming back. For a time, this venture became one of his most reliable sources of income. As Schultz's empire expanded, it was inevitable that he would cross paths with other high-profile figures in the world of organized crime. Among them were Lucky Luciano and Legs Diamond, two gangsters who, like Schultz, were shaping the modern American underworld. Luciano and Schultz had a complex relationship. On one hand, they were business associates, often working together on ventures that required shared resources or muscle. On the other, they were fierce competitors, each wary of the other's expanding power. Schultz's participation in Luciano's formation of the National Crime Syndicate, a coalition of various criminal organizations, indicated a degree of mutual respect and a shared vision for the future of American organized crime. But their alliance was often fraught with tension, punctuated by episodes of betrayal and one-upmanship. Legs Diamond was another notable figure with whom Schultz had both collaborative and antagonistic interactions. Their competitive relationship reached its zenith in a territorial dispute over bootlegging operations, ultimately resulting in violent confrontations between their respective gangs. Though both survived numerous assassination attempts from various enemies, their volatile relationship exemplified the treacherous landscape of organized crime during that era. Schultz's vast criminal operations did not go unnoticed by law enforcement, and he found himself the target of multiple investigations. One of the most dogged pursuers of Schultz was Thomas E. Dewey, a young and ambitious prosecutor who would later run for president. Dewey was determined to bring down Schultz not just to uphold the law, but to make a name for himself as a crime fighter. Schultz faced several high-profile court cases during his career, charged with crimes ranging from income tax evasion to more violent offenses. Yet he seemed almost invincible when it came to legal proceedings. Utilizing a mix of intimidation, bribery, and exceptionally skilled legal counsel, Schultz managed to avoid long-term imprisonment time again. In one famous case, he was acquitted after his lawyer managed to discredit key witnesses and poke holes in the prosecution's evidence. The courtroom became a sort of theater for Schultz, a stage on which he flaunted his invulnerability. But each legal battle, even when won, eroded his resources and his standing within the criminal underworld. And unbeknownst to him, his continued evasions of justice only made him a larger target, attracting the kind of attention that would eventually lead to his downfall. By the mid-1930s, Dutch Schultz found himself increasingly under the scrutiny of Thomas E. Dewey, the special prosecutor for New York County. Frustrated by his inability to put Schultz behind bars through conventional legal means, Dewey intensified his efforts, becoming an existential threat to Schultz's empire. Feeling cornered, Schultz began to entertain an audacious idea: the assassination of Thomas Dewey. While the idea of murdering a public prosecutor was not new in the underworld, such a move was considered exceedingly dangerous and risky. Schultz pitched the idea to the Commission, the ruling body of the American Mafia, hoping to gain their approval for the hit. However, the Commission was alarmed. Killing Dewey would invite unimaginable heat from law enforcement and could potentially disrupt organized crime across the country. The very act of proposing the murder marked a turning point for Schultz. It exposed his growing recklessness and estrangement from the more pragmatic mobsters like Lucky Luciano, who were working on legitimizing their operations to some extent. The rejection from the Commission isolated Schultz and showed him just how precarious his position had become. It wasn't long before Schultz's downfall became apparent. In a twist of fate, the Commission ordered a hit on Schultz, deeming him too dangerous to their collective interests. On October 23, 1935, Schultz was gunned down in the Palace Chop House in Newark, New Jersey. Though he was taken to the hospital and survived for some hours, he eventually succumbed to his injuries. With his death, his criminal empire disintegrated, assets seized or divided among other gangsters, and operations dismantled. And that's a wrap on Dutch Schultz, a guy so audacious. He made Al Capone look timid, and so reckless, he risked it all. In the end, his American dream became a tragic nightmare. If you like this wild ride, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold tales. Until next time, remember, if it's not just history, it's our story.